The escape. The stars streaked by an endless strings of light as Commander Ethan Reeves leaned back in his seat, eyes fixed on the monitor displaying the empty void of space. His ship, the Starborn, hummed quietly, the only sound in the otherwise silent cockpit. This was supposed to be a routine mission, another scouting expedition into the uncharted regions of the galaxy, but fate had other plans. "Captain, we've got incoming signals," Ensign Mira's voice broke the silence. Her tone carried a hint of unease, something Ethan hadn't heard from her before. "Origin?" Ethan asked, already knowing the answer. "Unknown, sir. It's not any species we've encountered before." The Starborn was equipped with the most advanced sensors in the fleet, capable of identifying even the most obscure signatures. If this was unknown, it meant they were dealing with something truly alien, something new and potentially dangerous. "Bring it up on the main screen," Ethan ordered. The monitor flickered, revealing a massive ship emerging from the darkness of space. It was unlike anything Ethan had ever seen, organic, almost alive in its design, with tendrils of energy weaving through its structure. It moved with an eerie grace, as if it were swimming through the void rather than flying. "What in the world?" Mira breathed. The ship emitted a low-frequency hum, a sound that seemed to vibrate through the Starborn's hull and resonate within Ethan's very bones. It was a sound that invoked a primal fear, something ancient and instinctual. "Shields up, full power to weapons," Ethan commanded, his voice steady despite the growing tension. Before the Starborn could react, the alien ship fired. A beam of energy, dark as the void itself, shot toward them. The shields absorbed the impact, but just barely. The ship trembled, alarms blaring as systems struggled to maintain integrity. "They're not responding to hails," Mira said, her fingers dancing across the console in a desperate attempt to communicate with the unknown vessel. "Prepare for evasive maneuvers," Ethan ordered, gripping the controls tightly. But the alien ship was faster, more agile than anything they'd encountered before. It closed the distance in seconds, its tendrils wrapping around the Starborn like a predator capturing its prey. The ship shuddered as the tendrils tightened, and for a moment, Ethan thought they were done for. Then something miraculous happened. A bright light erupted from the center of the alien ship, forcing the tendrils to retreat. The ship recoiled as if in pain, and a second later, it vanished into the void, leaving only the Starborn behind. "What the hell was that?" Mira asked, her voice shaky. Ethan didn't answer. He was focused on the light that had saved them. It wasn't from their ship. It had come from somewhere else, somewhere unknown, and it had felt welcoming. "Scan the area," he ordered. Mira complied, but the readings were inconclusive. Whatever had driven the alien ship away was gone, leaving no trace behind. "What now, sir?" Mira asked. Ethan stared at the empty space where the alien ship had been, his mind racing with questions. Whatever that light was, it had saved them. And now, more than ever, he wanted to know why. "We find it," Ethan said, determination in his voice. "Whatever it was that saved us, we're going to find it." As the Starborn set course for the unknown, Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that something significant had just happened. He didn't know what, but he was determined to find out, and deep down, he couldn't help but feel that whatever awaited them, it would change everything. The beacon. The Starborn drifted through the uncharted sectors of space, its crew on edge. The mysterious light that had saved them from the alien ship was nowhere to be found, but its memory lingered, haunting their thoughts. Ethan couldn't sleep. He kept replaying the encounter in his mind, trying to make sense of it. What kind of force could repel such a powerful alien vessel? And why had it intervened on their behalf? "Captain, I'm picking up something." Mira's voice broke through his reverie. Ethan rushed to the bridge, his heart pounding. "What is it?" "To signal," she replied, her eyes wide with disbelief. "But it's unlike anything we've encountered before. It's calling to us." "Calling to us?" Ethan repeated, frowning. "Yes, sir. It's almost like a beacon, guiding us somewhere." Ethan stared at the monitor, where the signal was displayed as a pulsating dot on the star map. It was coming from a distant star system, one that wasn't on any known charts. "Set a course," Ethan ordered. "Let's see where it leads." The Starborn altered its trajectory, moving toward the unknown system. As they approached, the signal grew stronger, more insistent. It was as if something or someone was urging them onward. Hours passed, the tension on the ship mounting with each passing moment. Finally, they arrived at the source of the signal, a small, unremarkable planet orbiting a dying star. "Sir, I'm detecting life signs on the surface," Mira reported. "Prepare a landing party," Ethan said, his mind racing. This planet, seemingly lifeless from space, held the answers they sought. The landing party consisted of Ethan, Mira, and 2 security officers. They descended to the planet's surface in a shuttle, the atmosphere thick with mystery. As they touched down, they were greeted by a barren landscape, devoid of any signs of civilization. "Where's the signal coming from?" Ethan asked, scanning the horizon. Mira checked her handheld device. "It's close, just over that ridge." They made their way across the rocky terrain, the wind howling through the canyons. As they crested the ridge, they saw it, a massive structure, half buried in the sand. It was ancient, its surface weathered by time, but there was no mistaking its purpose. "It's a temple," Ethan murmured, his voice filled with awe. The structure was unlike anything they'd seen before, its design alien and yet strangely familiar. The walls were adorned with intricate carvings, depicting scenes of a long-forgotten civilization. The signal was strongest here, emanating from deep within the temple. They entered cautiously, their footsteps echoing through the empty halls. The air was thick with an eerie silence, as if the temple itself were holding its breath. As they ventured deeper, the carvings became more elaborate, telling the story of a great conflict, of a race that had faced unimaginable horrors and emerged victorious. But there was something else, something that sent chills down Ethan's spine. The final carving depicted a figure, tall and regal, holding out its hand in a gesture of welcome. And behind it, a fleet of ships, their design unmistakably human. "What is this?" Mira whispered, her voice trembling. Ethan didn't answer. He was drawn to the figure, unable to tear his eyes away. There was something familiar about it, something that called to him on a deeply personal level. At the base of the carving was an inscription, written in an ancient language. Mira scanned it, her device working to translate the text. It says, "The ones who came before." Ethan's heart skipped a beat. The ones who came before. Was it possible that this temple was connected to humanity's distant past? Could it be that their ancestors had ventured into the stars long before recorded history? "We need to explore further," Ethan said, his voice filled with determination. They continued down the corridor, the walls closing in around them. The signal was stronger now, pulsing with a rhythm that matched Ethan's heartbeat. Finally, they reached a chamber, its walls glowing with a soft, ethereal light. In the center of the chamber was a pedestal, and upon it, a device unlike anything they'd seen before. It was small, unassuming, but it radiated a power that was almost tangible. "This is it," Mira said, her voice hushed with reverence. "This is what's been calling us." Ethan approached the pedestal, his hand trembling as he reached out to touch the device. As his fingers brushed against its surface, the chamber was suddenly filled with light, blinding and pure. And then, as quickly as it had come, the light faded, leaving them in darkness. But Ethan was no longer on the planet. He was somewhere else, somewhere far beyond the confines of the Starborn and the temple. He was floating in the void, surrounded by stars and galaxies, and in the distance he could see it, the source of the light that had saved them. It was a ship, vast and magnificent, unlike anything built by human hands. And aboard that ship, Ethan knew, were beings who had been waiting for him. The ones who came before. The Alliance. Ethan awoke with a start, the vision of the alien ship still fresh in his mind. The chamber was dark, the only sound the faint hum of the device on the pedestal. Mira and the others were still unconscious, their faces serene as if they were dreaming. He reached out, shaking Mira gently. "Wake up," he whispered urgently. She stirred, blinking rapidly as she came to. What happened?" "I'm not sure," Ethan admitted, helping her to her feet. "But I saw something, a ship, a massive one. And I think I think it was trying to communicate with us. Mira's eyes widened in disbelief. Communicate? How? I don't know, Ethan replied, glancing at the device. But I think this is the key. Whatever this is, it's connected to that ship and to us. The others began to wake, groggily regaining their senses. Ethan quickly explained what had happened, though the words felt inadequate to describe the experience. We need to take this device back to the Starborn, Ethan said. It might be our only chance to understand what's going on. The team carefully retrieved the device, its weight surprisingly light despite the power it seemed to hold. As they exited the temple, the planet's sun was setting, casting long shadows across the barren landscape. The journey back to the Starborn was tense, the crew on high alert for any signs of the alien ship that had attacked them. But the space around the planet remained eerily quiet, as if whatever force had saved them was now watching over them. Back aboard the Starborn, Ethan wasted no time in setting up the device in the lab. Mira and the science team worked tirelessly to analyze it, but the technology was far beyond anything they had encountered. It's like trying to decipher an ancient language without any context, Mira said, frustration clear in her voice. We can't even begin to understand how this thing works. Ethan leaned over her shoulder, studying the readouts. But there has to be a way. This device is connected to that ship, to the ones who came before. It saved us once, and it might be our only hope against whoever's out there. Mira sighed, rubbing her temples. I know, but we're working with unknowns here. We don't even know if it's meant for us to use. As if in response to her words, the device suddenly activated, its surface glowing with a soft, pulsing light. The room was filled with a gentle hum, the same sound they had heard on the planet. Everyone froze, eyes locked on the device. Captain, Mira said slowly, I think it's trying to communicate. Ethan's heart raced as he stepped closer to the device. Can you translate it? Mira worked quickly, adjusting the scanners and feeding the data into the computer. The hum grew louder, more insistent, and then slowly, words began to appear on the screen. We are the ones who came before, the message read. We have been waiting for you. Ethan felt a chill run down his spine. What did they want? The words on the screen shifted, forming a new message. We seek an alliance. Together we can face the darkness that threatens all life. An alliance? Ethan exchanged a look with Mira, his mind racing. Whoever these beings were, they were powerful enough to repel the alien ship that had attacked them. But why would they need an alliance with humanity? What is this darkness? Ethan asked, directing his question to the device. For a moment, there was no response. Then the screen flickered, showing an image that sent a jolt of fear through Ethan's heart. It was the alien ship, the one that had attacked them. But it was not alone. Hundreds, maybe thousands of similar ships filled the screen, moving as one in a vast, unstoppable fleet. The darkness, the message read, is coming, and it will not stop until all life is extinguished. The room was silent, the gravity of the situation sinking in. Captain, Mira said, her voice trembling, if this fleet is real, we don't stand a chance. Ethan stared at the screen, his mind racing. This was no longer just about survival. This was about the survival of the entire galaxy. The ones who came before were offering an alliance, a chance to fight back against the coming darkness. But could they trust them? What do you want in return for this alliance? Ethan asked, his voice steady. The screen flickered again, showing the image of the ancient temple they had discovered on the planet. Join us, the message read, and together we will be the light that pushes back the darkness. Ethan took a deep breath, the weight of the decision pressing down on him. This was a choice that would determine the fate of countless lives. But deep down, he knew there was only one answer. Tell them we accept, Ethan said, his voice resolute. We'll stand with the ones who came before. As the message was sent, the device pulsed with a bright light, and the room was filled with a sense of calm, as if the universe itself had acknowledged their decision. The alliance had been formed. And the fight against the darkness was about to begin, the battle. The Starborn stood at the forefront of the newly formed alliance, its crew ready and determined. The ones who came before had shared their knowledge, their technology, and their strength, preparing humanity for the coming conflict. The darkness was close, its fleet moving with a terrifying precision. The galaxy had never seen such a force, and it was up to the Alliance to hold the line. Ethan stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the monitors displaying the enemy fleet. The alien ships were vast, their designs twisted and malevolent, as if they had been forged from the nightmares of 1,000 worlds. But the Alliance was ready. Ships from countless species, united under a single banner, stood together, their weapons charged and aimed at the approaching enemy. "This is it," Ethan said, his voice carrying the weight of responsibility. "This is where we make our stand." The crew nodded, their expressions grim but determined. They had trained for this, fought for this, and now they were ready to face the darkness head-on. The first wave of enemy ships surged forward, their weapons firing in unison. The Starborn shook as the shields absorbed the impact, but they held firm. "Return fire," Ethan ordered. The Alliance ships unleashed a barrage of energy, their weapons tearing through the enemy ranks. The battle was fierce, the void of space, filled with the glow of explosions and the streaks of energy beams. But the enemy was relentless, their numbers seemingly endless. For every ship they destroyed, 10 more took its place. "We're being overwhelmed," Mira shouted, her hands flying over the controls. Ethan gritted his teeth, his mind racing. It couldn't hold out much longer. The darkness was closing in, and it would only be a matter of time before they were overrun. But then something changed. The alien ships began to falter, their movements becoming erratic. The Alliance forces pressed the advantage, pushing the enemy back. "What's happening?" Ethan asked, his eyes scanning the battlefield. Mira checked the readings, her expression one of shock. "It's the device. It's emitting some kind of signal that's disrupting their coordination." Ethan's heart soared. The device, the gift from the ones who came before, was turning the tide of the battle. The enemy fleet was in disarray, their attacks losing focus. "Press the attack," Ethan ordered, his voice filled with newfound hope. "We have them on the run." The Alliance ships surged forward, their weapons tearing through the weakened enemy forces. The darkness, once unstoppable, was now in full retreat. But even as they celebrated their victory, Ethan knew the battle was far from over. The darkness had been pushed back, but it was not defeated. The war would continue, and the Alliance would need to be vigilant. As the last of the enemy ships vanished into the void, Ethan allowed himself a moment of relief. They had won this battle, but the war was just beginning. The bridge was filled with cheers, the crew celebrating their hard-fought victory, but Ethan's mind was elsewhere, his thoughts on the future, the challenges that lay ahead. "We did it, Captain," Mira said, her voice filled with pride. Ethan nodded, a small smile on his lips. "Yes, we did, but this is just the beginning." The Alliance had proven its strength, but the darkness was still out there, waiting for its next opportunity to strike. They would need to be ready, to stand together and face whatever came next. And with the ones who came before at their side, Ethan knew they would be. The future. The galaxy was safe, at least for now. The battle had been won, and the darkness had been driven back into the void. But the cost had been high, and the scars of the conflict would be felt for generations to come. Ethan stood on the bridge of the Starborn, staring out at the stars. The ship was docked at a massive space station, the hub of the newly formed Alliance. Around them, ships from countless species were undergoing repairs, their crews working tirelessly to rebuild. The device that had saved them, the gift from the ones who came before, was now a symbol of hope, a reminder of the power of unity, but it was also a reminder of the threats that still loomed on the horizon. Mira approached, her expression somber. "Captain, we've received a message from the ones who came before. They want to meet with you." Ethan nodded. "Prepare a shuttle. I'll go alone." The shuttle ride was short, the distance between the space station and the massive alien ship that hovered nearby minimal. As he approached, Ethan couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. The ship was unlike anything humanity had ever built, its design a testament to the advanced technology of the ones who came before. He docked with the ship, stepping into a vast, empty chamber. The walls were smooth, the air filled with a soft, pulsing light, and then they appeared. The beings were tall, their forms ethereal and otherworldly. They seemed to shimmer, their bodies composed of energy rather than flesh and bone. They had no faces, no eyes, yet Ethan could feel their gaze upon him. "Welcome, Captain Ethan Carter." Their voices echoed in his mind, a harmonious blend of tones that resonated with his very soul. "You have done well." Ethan bowed slightly, a gesture of respect. "Thank you. But the victory was not mine alone. It was the Alliance that made it possible." "Indeed," they replied, their voices filled with approval. "The Alliance is a powerful force, and it will be needed in the days to come." Ethan's heart skipped a beat. "You mean the darkness isn't defeated?" The being's light dimmed slightly, as if reflecting their somber mood. "The darkness is vast, a force that transcends the physical realm. It cannot be destroyed, only contained." Ethan felt a chill run down his spine. "And the war isn't over." "No," they replied, "but you have given the galaxy hope, and hope is a powerful weapon against the darkness." Ethan nodded, understanding the weight of their words. The fight would continue, but they were not alone. The Alliance would stand strong, and together they would face whatever challenges lay ahead. "There is one more thing," the being said, their voices gentle. "The device you used is now bonded to you. You alone can wield its power." Ethan's eyes widened in surprise. "Why me?" "Because you have shown the qualities we value most," they replied. "Courage, compassion, and the willingness to sacrifice for others. You are the light that will guide the Alliance through the darkness." Ethan felt a surge of emotion, a mixture of pride and responsibility. The device, the power of the ones who came before, was now his to wield. And with it, he would protect the galaxy from the threats that lurked in the shadows. "Thank you," Ethan said, his voice filled with determination. "I won't let you down." The beings shimmered, their light growing brighter. "We know you won't. The future is in your hands, Captain Ethan Carter. Go forth and let your light shine." With those words, they vanished, leaving Ethan alone in the chamber. But he was not alone. He could feel their presence, a comforting warmth that filled his heart. As he returned to the Starborn, Ethan knew that the journey ahead would be long and difficult. But he was ready. The galaxy had a future, and it was up to him and the Alliance to protect it. And with the ones who came before at their side, they would face the darkness together. "The only species that would welcome me," Ethan thought, a small smile on his lips. "The only species that would stand with humanity against the darkness." The Starborn launched from the space station, its engines glowing as it set course for the stars. The galaxy awaited, and with the Alliance behind him, Ethan knew they would face whatever came next, because in the end, they were not alone. They had each other, and that was all they needed.